The border collie had been staring at the baby monitor for 4 days. Not the baby, the monitor itself. The small, white device on the dresser, with its glowing green LEDs that shifted to amber when the baby made sound. Becca had noticed it first on a Wednesday, when she came into the nursery at 3 a.m. and found Ranger positioned directly below the monitor, sitting upright, staring at the screen with the fixed intensity that border collies bring to everything they have decided to observe. She had thought he was watching the LEDs change. Border collies were herding dogs. They tracked movement, light, visual patterns. It seemed like the kind of thing a border collie would do at 3 a.m. when he had nothing else to organize. She went back to bed. Ranger was still sitting there when she checked the camera 20 minutes later. On day 2, she noticed that Ranger's position had a specific quality to it. He was not watching the monitor casually. He was watching it the way he watched the back door when he thought something was outside. Body still, ears pricked, processing. On day 4, she paid closer attention. The monitor's sound sensitivity bar, the small LED strip that responded to ambient noise in the room, was registering. Slightly, in regular, faint pulses, not loud enough to trigger the alert threshold the device was set to, not loud enough to reach the parents' room, but registering. Something in the nursery was producing a sound that the monitor was barely catching. Becca took the monitor off the dresser and turned up its sensitivity to maximum. She heard the carbon monoxide alarm on the other side of the nursery wall, the one in the hallway closet, beeping in its low battery pattern. 1 pulse every 60 seconds. Quiet, below the monitor's normal threshold, below the range where any adult in another room would register it. Below, apparently, the range where anything except a border collie with a working dog's hyperacute auditory processing would register it. Becca checked the carbon monoxide detector. It was in its low battery alert mode, but it was also registering a slight baseline elevation, not at emergency levels, but elevated above normal. The furnace had been serviced the previous month. She called the service company in the morning. The technician found a hairline crack in the heat exchanger that was allowing a small amount of combustion gas to enter the air supply. At the current level, it would have taken weeks to reach detectable concentrations for human senses, with a baby sleeping in the nursery adjacent to the heating duct, in a room with naturally lower air exchange than the rest of the house. The timeline was compressed. They had the furnace repaired. They replaced the carbon monoxide detectors with new ones. They opened windows for 2 days. Becca stood in the nursery after the technician left and looked at where Ranger usually sat. She said to herself. He heard the battery alarm. He had been hearing it for 4 days. He had stationed himself below the source of the sound because something in the sound pattern had registered to him as wrong, as a thing that was trying to communicate but not being heard. He had made himself the relay. She sat on the nursery floor. Her daughter Poppy was sleeping in the crib, unknowing and peaceful, breathing the clean air of a repaired house. Ranger came in from the hallway and sat beside Becca. He looked at the dresser where the monitor lived. He looked at the crib. Then he lay down beside Becca and put his head on his paws. He was done. He had finished the thing he had been doing for 4 days, and he could now return to his normal life, which included being let out at 6 a.m. and having breakfast and barking precisely once at the mail carrier as a matter of professional principle. Becca sat with him for a while, hand on his back. She thought about how many times she had walked past this room in the last 4 days and assumed Ranger was just being a border collie, compulsive, pattern-following, slightly strange. She thought about how close those two things were, strange and necessary. Sometimes she was realizing they were the same thing.